Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with more Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Let's talk about Warpriest, the class that blends martial prowess together with potent spellcasting ability. We've already reviewed these mechanics in my 25 base class mechanics video, which is linked in the description below. Overall, I rank this class a B-. Admittedly, that might be a personal bias. We all have that one class we just don't like, and I have no interest in Warpriest whatsoever. The first archetype is Champion of the Faith. You lose the ability to channel energy, which is a big deal, especially if you wanted to use your Warpriest as a healer. You also lose all rankings of Sacred Weapon, which is also a big deal that impacts how much damage you can do. In exchange for this, you get Chosen Alignment. Usually a Warpriest would only be able to select blessings that align with their deity. Chosen Alignment lets you choose one alignment and then automatically gives you the blessing that corresponds with that alignment, regardless of whether or not it's on your deity's list. The tooltip says you have to choose an alignment that corresponds with your deity, but at this time that's not true. I was able to select Iomedae as my deity and Chaos as my alignment. This choice does limit your character alignment options, as this setup only allowed me to choose neutral good. Whether or not this flexibility actually helps you depends on your build, but I do think it's a cool option to have. Starting at level 4, any weapon you wield will have your chosen alignment for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. If you are good or lawful aligned, this helps you for a little while, but otherwise it will be irrelevant. You also get Smite, which functions just like the Smite abilities Paladins get, except it applies to whatever is the opposing alignment to the one you have chosen. Obviously, good opposes evil and lawful opposes chaos. For the third time, if you choose the correct alignment, this could be awesome for you, except of course, you do not get Mark of Justice. I say it could be awesome because keep in mind this ability scales off of Charisma and your casting attribute is Wisdom. Splitting your points up between Strength, Wisdom, and Charisma, along with having a decent Constitution score, is a lot to ask for. At level 12, as a swift action, you can enhance your Sacred Weapon with a special ability based on your alignment for 1 minute. This will make the weapon bypass opposing alignment damage reduction, and it will deal 2d6 extra damage to those creatures. Both of these are very helpful to you, so this is nice. Overall, I give this class a B. I think in the right hands it's a step up from Warpriest, even though the loss of channel energy definitely hurts. Next on the list is Cult Leader. You lose 4 rankings of bonus combat feats, which is obviously very impactful. You also lose the ability to channel energy, which again can be impactful. Finally, you lose proficiency in medium armor, heavy armor, and martial weapons, along with losing the weapon focus bonus feat. This is definitely impactful as well and harms the class. In exchange for all of this, you get 6 rankings of sneak attack damage. More damage is always nice, and 6 rankings is nothing to sneeze at. Starting at level 4, you could consume 2 fervor uses to force enemies to pass a will saving throw. If they fail, they are fascinated for a number of rounds equal to your wisdom modifier. This works like the Bard ability Fascinate and causes enemies to stand and do nothing as long as you don't damage them. Obviously, this is useful functionality to have, but it's doubtful the DC will rise high enough to impact the enemies you really need to chill. Otherwise, since you cannot channel energy, this class isn't a good choice for your main healer, so using Fervor in this manner isn't a big deal. Starting at level 12, you can use the Stealth skill even when being observed. The class also automatically gives you a +2 bonus to Stealth. More than likely, you'll be using greater invisibility to trigger sneak attacks, so I don't think this is all that useful. Overall, I give this class a B+. The sneak attack damage is nice, but this still isn't all that great. Next up is Disenchanter. You lose the ability to channel energy, which again can be impactful. You also lose all 6 rankings of bonus combat feats and instead get 5 rankings of bonus feats that are geared around defense and disruption. This is definitely a downgrade, as most of these feats are not critical to a great melee build. In exchange for this, you get Mystic Interference, which lets you consume 2 uses of Fervor to give all party members a bonus of up to +5 to their saving throws. really nice to have when you know you're going up against enemies with nasty crowd control abilities. At level 6, you get Banish Enchantment, which lets you consume 2 fervor uses to cast Dispel Magic at one enemy. Dispel Magic is quickly outclassed by Greater Dispel Magic, so long term this isn't really useful for you. Overall, I give this class a C. I think it's worse than the base class, and while the increase to saves is nice, there's just not a whole lot happening here. Next we have Feral Champion. You lose the ability to select 2 blessings, and your one selection has to be the animal blessing. Obviously, losing a blessing hurts this class, but it's actually even worse than that, as you'll see in a moment. You also lose all ranks of Sacred Armor, which is a massive hit to the tankiness of this class. In exchange for this, you get 4 rankings of Wild Shape, which functions just like it does for Druid, except the form you take will be 3 levels lower. You can shape into a wolf, leopard, bear, or smilodon. All of these options have one thing in common. They all have claws. The primary boon of your animal blessing is that it gives you 2 claw attacks at level 1. Claw attacks do not stack. Therefore, your blessing's usefulness goes down significantly once you hit level 7 and get access to Wild Shape. At level 10, Animal Blessing will give you a summon ability that steadily grows more powerful, but you have nothing else that supports summons, so this is irrelevant. I give this class a D. I think it's a very poor shape-shifting option. Next on the list is Proclaimer. You lose the ability to use Fervor for healing or to damage the undead, and you lose the ability to channel energy. Obviously, that's a major knock against this class's ability to heal. You also lose all rankings of Sacred Armor, which again makes this class significantly less tanky. In exchange, you get Cleanser of Evil, which lets you, with a swift action along with consuming 1 use of Fervor, deal up to 7d6 holy damage to all evil outsiders within up to 15 feet. Obviously, you're going to face a ton of evil outsiders in this game, so there will be plenty of opportunities to apply this damage, and considering you can still do a full action after triggering it, this is actually really nice. You also get Zone of Sanctification, which lets you consume 2 fervor uses and perform a swift action to force enemies into passing a will save. Enemies who fail this save are pushed beyond the boundaries of the zone. The size of the zone will be equal to whatever the size of your Cleanser of Evil radius is. Since you are more than likely playing as a tank, I don't feel like pushing enemies away from you is all that useful, but it might be nice in an emergency. Overall, I give this class a B+. I think it's a little better than the base class, and thematically, playing as a warrior who can dish out holy damage at will is really nice. Quick note before we review Shieldbearer. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you subscribing and hitting the like button. I use this information to tell me which content the community is enjoying, and it helps my videos spread to more people. I really appreciate all of the support. Alright, finally let's go over Shieldbearer. You lose all rankings of Sacred Armor, but you do get an alternative mechanic. You are also only able to channel energy when carrying a shield, and it will come out as a cone instead of a radius. Obviously this isn't preferable, but at least you still have it. In exchange for this, you get Shield Adept, which will let you add your shield bonus to concentration checks when casting defensively. How useful this is depends on how often you want to cast in the middle of combat with your Warpriest, but honestly I don't think it's all that great. You also get Shield Bash, which will let you use your shield as a weapon. This counts as 2-weapon fighting, which means you need to take that line of feats in order to get the most out of this ability. That's a big ask, even for a class that gets several bonus feats. Your Sacred Weapon ability has changed as well, allowing you to apply this functionality onto a shield. You can still select a weapon with your weapon focused feat to make it your Sacred Weapon. You also get Sacred Shield, which functions just like Sacred Armor, but it must be applied to a shield. Overall, I give this class a B. It gives you a different flavor, but at the end of the day, Warpriest is mediocre, so this is too. That wraps up my rankings for Warpriest and all of its archetypes. In summary, I rank Warpriest B-, Champion of the Faith B, Cult Leader B+, Disenchanter C, Feral Champion D, Proclaimer B+, and Shieldbearer B. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.